Om Shanti. A very good morning to all of you. Today is the second day. Today is the second day of this meditation retreat. Yesterday we understood who am I, and today we will understand who is the Supreme, because Raj Yoga means connection of the self with the Supreme. And what is that channel which connects the self and the Supreme? That is the mind. It's the mind which connects. Up to now, the mind was connected to many physical things. People, objects, places, situations, problems, and whatnot. And that's why we were saying that this mind is a very naughty horse. It runs here and there like a vagabond. Even if we try to connect it with God, we are not able to. In spite of worshipping, praying, we are doing all sorts of things in order to connect the mind with God, we are not able to. So why were we not able to connect? Because of three main reasons. And Raj Yoga eliminates those three reasons. The first reason was ignorance of the self. Because who's connecting with God? It's not the body. But we were identifying ourselves with the body. And therefore we could not connect with God because God is not physical. Just as soul is not physical, God is also not physical. Many people say, why can't we see God? Because He's not a physical entity whom you can see. It is the highest spiritual energy. And soul is also an energy. It's the source of spiritual light, which is spiritual energy. So energy can connect with energy. Physical will connect with physical. And therefore we could not connect with the Supreme because we consider ourselves to be this physical body. And the second reason was that we did not even know who God is. We don't know who God is. Although I may say, hey Bhagwan, Ishwar, Khuda, God, we give so many names. But then who is that one? We do not know, and therefore how to connect. Like a girl is supposed to get married to a boy. But if she doesn't know who will be her life partner, how can she remember him? Although she knows it's time for her marriage now, parents are looking for someone who could be suitable for her and so on, but then it's not yet finalized. And therefore her mind will wander to so many people, so many men. But once she comes to know who her life partner will be, then her mind gets settled. Then it won't wander. So here the mind has to be connected with God. And why do we have to connect with God? Because the soul is like a battery. It has its own charge. But then as it comes in connection with the body, it gradually gets discharged. Just as when we are using our mobile, our cell phone, the cell gradually gets discharged. But then it has to be recharged again. And for recharging, we need a connector. And then we need a powerhouse. Where to connect? The charger is needed and the powerhouse is needed so that we may connect our cell phone with the powerhouse to get back the charge in the battery. So this meditation is like a charger, and that enables me to connect with the powerhouse. But then if I don't know who that powerhouse is, I will not be able to connect. So first reason was I was body conscious, therefore I could not connect. And the second reason was that I did not know who that supreme powerhouse is, so I could not connect. And third reason, even if I come to know, which I'm going to tell you now, still the mind can be a vagabond, it can still run here and there. Because the mind is filled with so many filthy waste thoughts, impure thoughts. It has become so impure. And to be in connection with that Supreme, who is so pure, the mind has to become pure first in order to connect with that Supreme. Just like we have milk. The milk is white in color. But if you put that milk in a dirty utensil, what will happen? It will not be possible for drinking that milk because the container was dirty. So the container, the vessel has to be cleaned so well in order to put milk in it. And therefore, because the container, that is the mind, is so much filled with filth and dirt and impurity and vices, the mind is not able to connect with the Supreme. So what we have to do is three things. First, become aware of the self. Then become aware of the Supreme. And then cleanse the mind. Now how do we clean the mind? The mind has been polluted, contaminated with impure thoughts, which are based on body consciousness. Thoughts based on body consciousness lead to lust, anger, greed, attachment, ego, jealousy, hatred, all these evils, these vices we say. And therefore the mind is not able to connect with the Supreme. So, in order to clean that mind, we need to do a lot of churning. Now, people do chanting, praying, and they think that by praying and chanting, we will be able to connect. But then, who is connecting? If they are body conscious, even if they do chanting and praying, they will still not be able to connect. Because body consciousness will pull them towards physical things. The mind will again run here and there. And therefore, soul conscious is necessary. Just like if you want to connect your radio to some radio station, then you must know the frequency, the meter band, the wavelength, from where that radio, where radio station's sound is coming. If you don't know the wavelength, the meter band or the frequency, you don't know anything, and you want to connect, how will you be able to connect? You'll just move the needle here and there, but you will not be able to connect. But once you know the meter band, frequency, wavelength of that radio station, and you just put your needle and you'll be able to connect, because the radio will be able to hear the sound from the radio station. The same thing goes with television. So the connection is possible only when there is a similarity in frequency, similarity in wavelength, similarity in the meter band, and so on. So here we were body conscious, and that Supreme is incorporeal, so no connection. And also, if there's a lot of disturbance in the air, still we will not be able to get the connection. So that antenna has to be very high in order to receive that connection. So if the mind is polluted, again I will not be able to connect. So what is the best method for that? First is to cleanse the mind. And how will we cleanse the mind? Through churning. It's not just chanting. Supposing I give you some mantra to chant, and I tell you that now chant this mantra 1000 times a day. And you may keep on chanting and then also keep counting, because 1000 times a day, it's a big number, 1000. So maybe 100 now, and then 200, then 300, 100 at a time. So you're actually doing the work of counting, not really remembering. Because you have to keep counting 1000 times. And therefore, the mind goes towards the counting and not towards the Supreme. And therefore, we say there's no need to keep chanting. But what is necessary is to understand yourself and the Supreme, and to churn that knowledge within, to have that awareness within. Who am I? Whom do I belong to? Where am I from? Why am I here? So this understanding is very important. For example, I give you the mantra Om Namo Shivaya, that's what usually gurus will give. Now I keep chanting Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, keep chanting, chanting, chanting. But what is the meaning of Om Namo Shivaya? Om Namo Shivaya means I pay salutations to Shiva. Nama means salutations. I pay salutations to Shiva. But then who is Shiva? Where is Shiva? What is my connection with him? What is my relationship with Shiva? How will I be able to meet Shiva? I don't know anything. Then how can I connect? And what is the purpose of that connection? Why am I doing it? I don't know anything. But yes, I've been told 1000 times chanting, that's all. When I may keep a mala in my hand, rosary in my hand, and maybe a shivling, whatever, and I keep chanting, I keep turning the beads of the rosary. So my eyes may have been given work. Maybe my mouth is also given work by chanting. And my fingers are also given work by turning the beads of the rosary. But my mind is not given work. So the mind can still wander, because that needs work. And not just work, it has to also be creative. A child, as I was mentioning yesterday, a naughty child needs work. If you don't give it work, it will create havoc. So the mother gives him work, but not just work, but the mother will give him some creative work. Nowadays you have very many creative games for children. So in this way they are kept busy, and also they become creative. Not just become busy, to become busy is not a big thing, but also to be creative whilst becoming busy. Then you are able to uplift your mind, uplift yourself. So by just chanting, you're not really creative, because you don't even know the meaning of it. So how to be creative? You can be creative only when you are really involved in it, and you are trying new methods and new thoughts, new feelings, and therefore you can be absorbed in it. And you'll also enjoy it because of the creativity. So here too we have to do some creativity. Actually, what's the meaning of mantra? Mantra literally has many meanings, but one meaning of mantra is an advice. From the word mantri. From where has this word come, mantri? Mantri actually, in the earlier days, he was an advisor to the king. So the king needs advisors. Just like you have 20 ministers in today's government, and they are called mantris. But then mantri really means an advisor, and the advice he gives is a mantra. So actually it's an advice. The advice which the intellect gives to the mind. Oh mind, this is what you have to think. This is what you have to churn. And that has to be a creative churning. Not just one word to keep repeating again and again, because then you'll get bored. A child is told to just play, it'll get bored with that toy. But that toy should be creative. Then he will enjoy playing with that toy. That's very important for the mind. And therefore now we have to understand who that Supreme Being is. But then somebody may say, why to connect? We need to connect because the soul becomes so discharged as it is in the body, and it comes into body consciousness and loses its charge. That's why we become peaceless, we become unhappy, we become miserable, we become so sad, we lose our mood, Very quickly we start changing our moods. Why all this? Because the soul is depleted. The soul has become like discharged. If the soul would have been charged, it would not go through so many emotions. It would remain stable. And therefore the soul needs to become stable, and for that it needs the charge from the Supreme Soul, who is always stable. So when I'm connected with that Supreme Soul, I get back my charge, and then I can become recharged and active and strong again. So first of all is soul consciousness, and then the second step is God consciousness, and in that midst we are cleansing the soul, the mind, because mind is an energy of the soul. It's not something physical. If you ask a neurosurgeon, where is the mind situated in the brain, he will not be able to locate. Of course, other parts of the brain, he can say, this is hypothalamus, this is pituitary gland, pineal gland, whatever the brain has. But where is the mind? You say mind, then some will say in the heart. Actually, mind is metaphysical, it is spiritual. And that cannot be seen, but it is definitely there because it is controlling the body through the brain. So the mind has to be connected with the Supreme, but who is that Supreme? When this question is asked, so many answers. Why so many concepts about God? Some will say that God is everywhere. Some will say God has no name and form. Someone will say all are names and forms of God, all are gods. And where is God? Someone will say He is high above. Some will say He is in my heart. So many concepts. Well, some concepts may be feelings. A feeling is different from a true concept. What we say, like bhavna and siddhant. Siddhant means a concept, and bhavna is a feeling. You can have many different types of feelings. God is in my heart. It's such a beautiful feeling. But if you take it with logic, this heart is filled with feelings, yes, but then if God is in the heart, actually it means that I have so much love for God. Because the one whom you love, where would you like to place him? You would like to place him in your heart. And therefore we say, yes, God is in my heart. God is in every cell of this body, some may say. But all these are different feelings. But when we say God is one, we have to understand the meaning of this God is one. So I will give you 5 main points through which we can experience who that Supreme Being is. And these points are meant for every religion, because Hindus may say Bhagwan, Ishwar, Prabhu, Muslims will say Allah, Khuda, Christians will say God, and also we can say the Zoroastrians will say Aura Mazda, Parsis, so many religions, but it is one only. And that one should be accepted by all religions. Only then it can be called one. So what is that form which can be accepted by all religions? Whether someone is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian, any religion he may belong to, but that one should be able to accept that form. Therefore, it cannot be a physical form anyway, because physical form will never be accepted by all religions. Christians may believe in Christ, okay, but Hindus won't believe. Hindus will believe in Sri Krishna, Sri Ram, or maybe, but Christians won't believe. And even among the Hindus, some are Krishnapanthis, some are Rampanthis. Those who believe in Ram, they don't want to remember Krishna, they want to remember only Sri Ram. And some are Sri Krishnapanthis, so they will want to remember only Sri Krishna, not even Sri Ram. So always this conflict is there, because we can't see God. No, that's the thing. If we could see, then there wouldn't be so many concepts. I have seen a mango, and if somebody shows me a mango, of course I know it's a mango. If he shows me another fruit, he'll say, this is a mango. I'll say, no, I know what mango is. This is a mango. And we give a very interesting example of an elephant. There were 5 blind men who went to a zoo, and they were told, now this is an animal, now what animal is it? So someone touched his ears, and they were, swinging just like a fan. They were like swinging like a fan. And so one of them said, oh, this is a fan. The second one touched his body, his stomach, and he said, oh, this is like a wall. The third one touched his trunk, and he said, oh, this is like a snake, because it was moving. The fourth one touched his tail, and he said, oh, this is like a rope. It's a rope. The fifth one touched his legs, and he said, this is like a pillar. Now, was an elephant like a pillar or a wall or a rope or a fan or a snake? Definitely not. Definitely not. But they touched different parts, and the feeling they got from that made them feel that yes, this is what it is. But the one who could see could say, no, it is not that at all. The elephant does not have any qualities of a fan or a snake or a pillar or a wall or a rope. It is an animal. So when I say God, but then what is a form of God? So we can't see him. Therefore, it has to be that form which should be accepted by all religions. This is one point. The second point is that God is that one who not only accepted by all religions, but then the second one is that that one should be acceptable to everyone too. On one hand, in Hindi we use the term sarvamanya, and the second word is sarvocha. He is the highest on high. Highest on high. Not only acceptable to all religions, but he is the one who is highest on high, no one higher than that one. Now, who is the highest on high? Who could be the highest on high? Well, everyone will give a different point. Someone will say, my father is highest for me. Someone will say, my mother is highest for me. Someone will say, my teacher is highest for me. But then they are not the highest. Because if I say my father is highest for me, but that my father also has has a father. So for that father, my father, highest for him will be his father. And for that father, highest for him will be his father. But who is the highest on high father? Who does not have any father? Who does not have any mother? Because there are 4 relationships which are always considered higher than me. Always. I can't really, uh, finish their debts because they have done so much for us. First of all is our parents. They have done so much for us, they have given us birth. Till the end, we cannot, finish their debts. Even after my parents die, I have to go for the cremation because I'm the son of him or the daughter, whatever. I have to be present there because they are my parents. So I cannot finish the debts of my parents. But still, they are not the highest. They have their parents. Then the second highest for me could be my teacher, the one who taught me in school. Because I went to my teacher and the teacher taught me so much, so I cannot finish my debts of my teacher. I remember Abdul Kalam, the president of India, he once shared his feelings. He said, I went to my primary school teacher, where he lived in Kerala or Tamil Nadu, wherever. So he went to that village where he studied in a school, and that primary school teacher was alive. He was very, very old. And Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was the president of India, having the highest post in India. So he went to his teacher and touched his feet, and the teacher said, no, you are the president of India. I'm nothing in front of you. And the president said, nothing doing. At this moment, I'm not the president of India in front of my teacher. I'm only a student. I'm only a student. So you can imagine, I can never finish the debts of my teacher, always higher than me. However much I have become very educated, having a very good status, but my teacher will always be called my teacher. The third one who's always higher than me is my guru. We say Vivekananda became world famous, but still it will be said whose disciple was he? He was a disciple of Swami Ramakrishna Paramhans. So however high elevated Vivekananda may be, but still whose disciple, his guru is always higher than him. So my parents, my teacher, my guru, and the fourth one is the one who gave me a new lease of life. I was dying and somebody saved me. He became my savior and saved my life. I can never finish my, debts of him. So I'll always say that he is the one who saved my life. He is the one who protected me. And I'm also always a debtor of that person. Rini hu main uska. So these are 4 relationships who are always considered higher than me. Now God is that one who does not have these 4 relationships higher than him. No parents, and therefore we say Swayambhu, self-creator. Self-creator. Nobody created God. Somebody may question, who created God? Well, if somebody created God, then who created that one who created God, So we actually say 3 things are eternal in this world. 3 things are eternal. Nobody created them. They were never created and will never be destroyed. The first is the Supreme Being. He's also a being, but supreme. Supreme in all relationships. The second one is the soul. The soul was also never created and will never be destroyed. The third is matter. Matter. Matter, according to science too, it can never be created nor can it be destroyed, but it only changes its form from one to the other. energy or matter, it depends what you want to say. But energy, the physical energy is also eternal. Equation has to be the same from both sides. And therefore we say matter can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can only change its form from one to the other. Light energy changes into heat energy, to magnetic energy, all these are so many energies. They may change, but total sum will remain the same. So these three energies which are physical, they are also constant. But then, I will tell you more about this tomorrow, but then we have to understand the concept of the Supreme now. So that Supreme, who is the highest on high, is the one who has no one higher than him. So no father, mother, no teacher, no one taught God. If somebody would be God's teacher, then that one who taught God, who taught that one, So we say God is the knower of all three aspects of time. Nobody taught him anything. We say Jani, Jananhar, all knower. So no teacher, no guru, because he is the highest and high preceptor. And fourthly, no one ever saved God. God is a savior of all. So there's no question higher than him who saved God. For human beings, we say, this one saved me, this one protected me, this one helped me. But God does not need all that, because he's the highest on high. So who is that one who's the highest on high? No mother, father, no teacher, no guru, no savior of that one. No, that one will be called God. And the third thing is, so the first in Hindi we say Sarvamanya, the one who is accepted by all religions. Second is Sarvocha, highest on high. Third is Sarvase Nyara, who is different from everyone, who is different from us physically. We are all different anyway. Each one is different. Your sanskars are different from this one's sanskars, from that one's sanskars. Your karmas are different. Your fate is different. Every soul is different. No two souls can be alike. Just like no two faces can be alike. No two sanskars can be alike. Each one's role is different. And Supreme Being has his own role to play. Now, but we souls come in a cycle. And therefore we say in this world everything is relative. But for God we will say it is absolute, no relativity. In this world everything is relative. This hall, I'll say, is a big hall, because compared to this hall, the other halls may be smaller. So I'll say this is a bigger hall. But there are so many bigger halls than this hall. So this hall is not the biggest. It is a big hall, but not the biggest. There are other higher or bigger halls than this. So everything in this world is relative. Everything. We souls come in the cycle of birth and death. So we souls come in different cycles. But God does not come in the cycle of birth and death. That's a big difference between soul and the Supreme Soul. So one cycle is a cycle of birth and death. We take the body, it's birth. We leave the body, it is death. Then the second cycle is the cycle of karma and the fruit of karma. Because every soul plays his own role. And accordingly, the karmas are different. So there's a cycle for everyone. My karma and the reward or the fruit of that karma which I get. If I get the fruit of my karma, nobody else is going to get that fruit. He will get the fruit of his karma. So every soul passes through a cycle of karma and the fruit of karma. The third cycle is that karma leads to, it's a sinful action or a righteous action, pap and punya. We say pap and punya. So cycle of sinful action and righteous action or good action. And the fourth cycle is the cycle of happiness and sorrow, because sinful actions will lead to sorrow. Righteous actions will lead to happiness. And that's why there's a saying in the Gita, every soul is its own friend and its own enemy. हर आत्मा अपना मित्र अपना शत्रु है. If I am my friend when I'm performing righteous actions, because I will get happiness through those righteous actions. And I'm my enemy if I'm committing sinful actions, because I will get a punishment of those sinful actions. So again, this is a cycle. So cycle of birth and death, cycle of karma and the fruit of karma, then cycle of sin and virtue, and fourth is a cycle of happiness and sorrow, and then of course so many other relative things like praise and defamation. All these are different because everything is relative. For somebody it may be a praise, for somebody it's a defamation. So I won't go into all that details, but God does not come in that cycle. He is beyond that cycle. Beyond cycle of birth and death, beyond cycle of karma and fruit of karma, beyond cycle of pain and pleasure or whatever, all these different cycles. That's why it's called absolute. And souls are called relative, because we say he's a papatma, a sinful soul, he's a punyatma, a righteous soul, a charitable soul, a good soul, a bad soul. But for God, we will never say good God or bad God. God is only one. So this is the third thing. So we say, so first was sarvamanya, second was sarvocha, and third is sarva se nyara, unique and absolute. So this is the third quality. Then the fourth is sarva gyata, the all-knower. No human being can be all-knower, but the Supreme is called all-knower. Very many times we are sort of confused in something, and then what we say, God knows what is right, what is wrong. God knows. Sach kya hai, jhoot kya hai, Bhagwan jane. God knows. So God knows what is true and what is false. So He knows everything. I also know everything what I am doing. Somebody else might not know, but God is watching. We say God is watching, He knows. And therefore the one who is called all-knower, or the knower of all the three aspects of time. We have three aspects of time: past, present and future. These are three aspects of time. So that Supreme Being knows all the three aspects of time. We souls don't know all the three aspects of time. I may know only the present. Maybe I may know past of this life, but not the past of past lives. I don't know my future. There are some people who are able to predict the future, and many people consider them to be God because they can predict the future. Some people are able to tell about their past lives, and they may say, oh, he's like God, because God is the one who knows all the three aspects of time. Actually, human beings can never know all three aspects of time. And that's why some people say, live only in the present. We say, don't live only in the present. Don't live only in the past. Some people live only in the past. They remember what happened in the past and they are thinking of that only and experiencing sorrow because of the past. And something only in the future, they just build castles in the air. I will do this, I will do that, I will do that, and they're not able to do anything. So that's why it is said, live in the present. Be in the present, enjoy the present. Don't think of the past, don't think of the future. They say past is history, forget it. History, nobody likes history. Future is a mystery, therefore forget it. So history and mystery, both are to be forgotten, but live in the present because present is a reality. But karma philosophy says present is based on your past. Present is not just happening without any reason. Present is because of the past. And this present will lead you to your future. So how can you just live in the present? Enjoy, eat, drink and be merry. Enjoy, do whatever you want to. But no, I have to be very careful what I am doing, because if I am not doing the right actions, I will definitely be committing sins, and then I have to be punished for that. So therefore, we have to understand the three aspects of time. Whatever action I am doing, I have to think of the consequences. If I do this action, what will be the consequences? And that's why it's not just live in the present and do whatever you want. No. Karma philosophy tells us to beware of that. So my past leads to my present leads to my future. That is why it is said, watch your thoughts, for one day they will become words. Those words you don't want to speak, don't even think about those thoughts. If you don't want to say it. So why do you think about it? Because you don't want to say it. And watch your words, for one day they will become actions. Because those actions which you don't want to do, don't even say them. Why do you say them if you don't want them to happen? Watch your actions, for one day they will become your habits. If you don't want to make such habits, don't do those actions even once. And watch your habits, for they will become your personality. And if you don't want that particular personality, then don't form such habits too. A person who's a very angry person, that's what his personality is, always getting angry. Because he has formed a habit of getting angry all the time for no reason also. And watch your personality, your inner personality, not external personality. Watch your personality, for one day it will lead you to your destiny. That will be your destiny. So, we have to be concerned, what do I want my future to be like? It's not just live in the present. So that's what karma philosophy teaches us. I'll tell you more about it day after tomorrow. And therefore, when I say God is the all-knower, He knows the three aspects of time. And then after that, first was Sarvamanya, acceptable to all religions. Second was Sarvocha, highest on high. Third is beyond the cycles with which human souls go, so cycle. And the fourth, all-knower. And the fifth is all-bestower. He's always a giver. God doesn't take anything from us. Even if we give something on the name of God, we get a return 1,000-fold. That's why we say, dene wala jab bhi deta, chappad phad ke deta. He's always giving. We can, just say it's too much, I can't take it anymore. If you eat and eat and eat, your stomach will become full and you don't want to eat anything more. It's over, enough. So God is always the giver. Just like we say, even nature is always giver. Nature is giver. There's a very beautiful song. The song is, in Hindi, is very lovely. Nadiya na piye kabhi apna jal. The river never drinks its own water. Vriksha na khaye kabhi apna phal. A tree does not eat its own fruit. Apno ka jo dujo ko de, वो सच्चा इंसान, वो धरती का भगवान. The one who is always giving, he is like God. A human being can become like God when he is always a bestower, because God is a bestower all the time. So, that bestower is always one. Physical body is always a receiver, taking, right from even before birth, in the womb also, that fetus is taking. Even after death, the dead body takes, no? We have to cremate the body, we have to pay for it. It's not just, okay, finished, no. And then after that, in many religions, they also do pind daan and this daan, even for the forefathers, the ancestors. So always taking. But God is always giving, giving, giving. And the one who's giving, he has a big heart. He's like next to God. We call them Devata. You know what is Devata? Devata means Dene wala, the one who's always giving, always sharing. And that is the Supreme Being. So what form could he have? It's not a physical form. It is not an angel. An angel is also very elevated, but then the creator of even angels. And that Supreme Being is incorporeal. We use 3 terms in Hindi: Nirakar, Nirgun, Niranjan. Nirgun, Niranjan, Nirakar. We use these 3 terms. Nirgun means, literally Nirgun in Hindi, if you give a meaning, it means no virtues at all. But actually it's not like that. God has so many virtues. They say God's virtues are unlimited. If you turn this whole earth into paper, turn all the jungles, the forests into pen, and all the oceans into ink, and start writing, Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, if she starts writing the praise of God, even these papers will end, the ink will end, the pens will end, but God's praise will not end. And yet He's called Nirgun. And people take it literally, no virtues. Actually, no virtues means all the physical qualities, the physical nature of these physical elements. God's nature is not like that. Because in nature, everything is changing. Everything is changing. Today I may say this is a wall, but after 50 years it will not be like this. But God is unchangeable. So unchangeable in the sense, no change. But for matter, we will say it is always changing. That is why in spirituality, very many say, Jagat Mithyam, Brahma Satyam. This world is all illusion. Brahma is the truth. Why do they call it illusion? Why it is called illusion? Because illusion, in a sense, it is always changing. Nothing is permanent in this world. Nothing is permanent. In management, it is said, everything is changing except the word change. Except the word change. Otherwise, everything is changing. This word change does not change. The physical body is changing. Every moment there's a change happening. But the Supreme Being does not change. Souls also don't change physically. But spiritually, of course, they change. But Supreme Being does not change even spiritually. Paramatma does not become Papatma, but we become Papatma, sinful souls. We become Devatma and we become Papatmas. We become pious souls, deity souls, we become also impure souls. But then who will make us pure again? Just as the day goes through the cycle, no? Morning, afternoon, evening, night. But then after night, the morning has to come. That God, that Supreme, is the Son of knowledge. He has to come and He gives the knowledge and brings day again. So that's the work of God. But for nature, everything goes through a cycle. Souls also come in contact with nature and go through a cycle. And when they reach the depleted stage, that Supreme Being has to come again to make the soul high again. From human being to a deity. The deities are the highest human beings. We speak about 33 crore deities. Who were those 33 crore deities? They were souls. And they were in the highest stage. But who made them that? Only that Supreme Being made them. So that Supreme Father is the one who is Nirakar. Nirakar, some people may say that He has no form. But then if I say no form, then who is God? God does have a form. But that form is not a physical form. It is not Sakar, it is Nirakar. That form is an incorporeal form, the form of light. And what is the praise of God? We say God is an ocean in a dot. An ocean in a dot. I was in Mauritius before I came to Nairobi. So there they say, what is Mauritius? Mauritius is a dot in the ocean. It's a dot in the ocean. So now just convert it. God is an ocean, ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, ocean of love, ocean of happiness, but in that tiny dot, infinitesimal dot. Infinitesimal dot has no measurement, and infinity has also no measurement. No measurement. Can you count where is infinity? And yet we say infinity is where two parallel lines meet. So they do meet somewhere. So they have that's the infinity. And zero, a point, is that which has no measurement and yet it exists on a graph. When we speak about, when we define a point on a graph, what do we say? A point is that which has no definitions, no length, no breadth, no thickness, no height, but it still exists. And that's what a soul is, and that's what a supreme soul is. But the soul passes through the cycle, but supreme soul does not pass through the cycle. Because if he would also pass through the cycle, then who would take us back to the origin? That's the work of God. That's what in science also we say everything passes through entropy. And that entropy can be stopped when something intervenes. So the souls also pass through that entropy. Nature also passes through that entropy. There's a downfall. Sato, Rajo and Tamo stages. But from Tamo it has to go back to Sato stage. And that Sato stage, who can bring? Only the Supreme, who does not go through those stages. So that's how we understand that Supreme Being. So Nirakar or incorporeal means not corporeal, but the form does exist as a point of light, an ocean in a dot. And Nirgun or we say no virtues, but no virtues of matter, but its own virtues are always there. Nirgun, Nirakar, Niranjan. Niranjan means who is unaffected by the opposites of this world. Niranjan. So God does not go through different cycles. So what is that form which can be accepted by all religions, which according to different religions is acceptable? In Hinduism, that the Shivling is that oval-shaped stone. Actually, it's only a point of light, but how to worship that? Therefore, people worship the Shivling, which is thumb-shaped. And many people take in a very wrong sense. They consider it to be gender, male gender. That's what many people think. Actually, it is not gender. When we say ling, ling does not really mean gender here, but Shiv Ling. So ling here stands for symbol. Jyotirlingam we say, so a symbol of light. Now how will you represent a symbol of light? It's a point of light, therefore oval shape, like a flame. In Christianity also, some may say Christ is God, but Christ never said that he was God. When he was being crucified, he said, "O Father, forgive them for their doings." So which father did Christ remember when he was being crucified? That is the incorporeal Father, whom we say Shiva. So Shiva actually means light. Shiva means peace. Shiva means the benefactor. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram we say. The benefactor, the truth, the bestower, the ever beautiful. And that's why we say Shiva. In every religion, in Parsis they say Aura Mazda, they worship fire. So that Aura Mazda, that's the one they worship. We even say Allah, Khuda, no form. But yes, that incorporeal form is there. But in Hinduism, there are so many gods and goddesses, but actually capital God is only one. For these Devi Devtas or gods and goddesses, we never use capital God, only small God. Because God creates gods and goddesses. They were the highest human beings on earth. So it's not that we believe in many gods. God is only one. But why we believe in many gods? Because we say that we were them, and now we have become worse than humans also, not just worse than animals. We are like worse than animals. If I say, it's not an exaggeration. Even animals are better than humans in a way. Today humans have become worse than animals. But we were deities, and we today have fallen so much. But then how will we rise again? When we connect ourselves with that Supreme. Now where is that Supreme? The abode is the same where souls reside. Now more I will be able to tell you only tomorrow. So that Supreme Father resides in that Supreme abode. That Supreme abode is the residence of the Father as well as the children. Children's address is not different from the Father's address. That's why we say we have come from God and we have to go back to God, because that's our home, the eternal home of souls, the eternal home of the Supreme Soul. God also comes he's called messenger. God comes as a guest in this world. We invoke God. And God tells about himself in the Gita. It is the yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. I come when there's decay of religion, when there's decay of, when there's irreligiousness, unrighteousness in this world, I descend. And I destroy irreligiousness and establish religiousness once again. So actually every religion teaches us about values. But then that religiousness which experiences all values, that was the original religion of Golden Age. That I'll tell you later. But now we have come to know who God is, that Supreme Being, who's a point of light in form, an ocean in virtues, and we say Shiva, Jehovah, Aura Mazda, Allah, Khuda, God is the same. In Bharat, we say because it's a democratic country, so we say Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, Bhai, Bhai. We're all brothers. Why brothers? Because politically it can be said we are all brothers, because all have rights to worship in their own way. It's fine. But then spiritually, how are we all brothers? Because Father is the same. Whether one is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Parsi or Yahudi, whatever religion he may belong to, Father of all souls is only one. And if that one is understood and remembered, then this world will become a heaven once again. But today, we have forgotten that Supreme Father, therefore so much of bifurcation. My religion, your religion, his religion, that one's religion, my religion better than your religion, and so on. My God, your God, and this one's God and that one's God, and we are fighting with each other. So actually Raj Yoga teaches how to come together. See everyone as a soul. Don't see the body. Because when we see the body, then all the differentiations come. And see the soul at the center of the forehead. Everyone's foreheads are alike. And below, the more below you go, everything is different. Someone's eyes, Chinese eyes are like an almond, and the others, India, like different. Africans, different. It's different. Someone's nose may be very thick, someone's nose may be very pointed, someone's lips may be very thick again, someone's ears so big. And we keep looking at the physical body. And the more lower we go, then from Sato to Rajo to Tamo. But then we always say that look only at the forehead of everyone and see everyone as a soul, a sparkling soul residing at the center of the forehead, which is my temporary address. And then with my mind and intellect, go to the soul world, my original home, where I can be with my Father, the Supreme Being. And from that Supreme Source, take the qualities of that Father and charge the self, for which I'll tell you tomorrow. Okay? How to charge the self? By taking the charge from the Father, the qualities from the Father. That is tomorrow's lesson. Okay? But now, whatever you have heard, just for 5 minutes contemplate on that. Who is God? Where is God? The highest on high, the all-knower, the one accepted by all religions, the bestower, the most unique one. And that one is the one whom I have to remember. So let us churn on that. So remember these things in your mind, and in this way you'll be able to purify your mind. And that will enable you to bring the God's remembrance in your mind. And you will not see anything else but a point of light. I am a point of light. My Supreme Father is also a point of light. So even if I keep my eyes open, I can still think of that point of light. I can visualize that point of light, a point in form and an ocean in virtues. And that's what we have to remember. So, okay, sit straight. So we go through a journey. First is inwards, then the second is upwards. And tomorrow I'll tell you more about outwards. So inward and upward today. I first go inwards. Who am I? I answer this question myself. I am a soul. A point of divine energy. I am eternal. I am immortal. I was never born. I will never die. I am imperishable, indivisible, and invisible. I am seated between the two eyebrows. I am the master of my senses. This physical body is like a costume. I have put on many costumes and have played many roles. But now I have to go beyond. Beyond this physical world, beyond the 5 elements, beyond the light of the sun, moon and stars, with my mind, I travel to my supreme abode. The 6th element of eternal golden red light. I, the soul, am in that world of light. Where I experience total silence, absolute silence. Where I, the soul, am beyond any pulls of the physical world. I visualize myself in front of my Supreme Father, who is also a point of light. But ocean in all his virtues, the Almighty Father, who is the ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, ocean of love, and I, the soul, his worthy child, am an embodiment of peace, an embodiment of love, an embodiment of happiness and bliss. Just like I receive the rays of the sun, similarly I can experience the rays of peace, love, happiness coming towards me, the soul. And I become absorbed in them. How peaceful I am. Peace is my original nature. I go into the depth of peace. Peace is a great power within me. Peace is my inner strength. Peace is my true wealth. I am so fortunate to have come to know my true nature. I am so fortunate to have come to know my true Father. I have my protector who is always protecting me. I can never forget that one. I can be in his company all the time. I never feel lonely. communicate with that Supreme Father, Teacher and Sadguru, who is the bestower of all what I aspire for. And I become full within, totally satisfied, fully content. I remain absorbed in the qualities of God. And then I come back to the physical world. Once again on this world drama stage, to play my role, but now with a different feelings. The feeling of sharing peace, love and happiness with all, because now I have become full with them. I perform every action in a peaceful way. I share happiness with all. I give love to all. As I have now received peace, love and happiness from that Supreme Father, which I have to share with all now. And the more I share, the more I become full with them. I will never lose my peace, love and happiness. As now I am a contented soul. I consider myself to be very, very fortunate. Thanks, Baba. Thanks, Father. You have given me everything. Om Shanti. Shanti. Shanti.